No topic left untouched. Much respect.
It's your boy Scoonie, used to get high as coolie. Now I spit moody, make beats that super groovy. See, Willin, that sticky, told me Spoon is no biggie. So I sample Biggie, grab a drink and got tipsy. Rock with me for a
So who do you blame?
Now it's a 60-minute TikTok.
Let's
Now it's a 60-minute TikTok.
Who's
So you have nobody. You have
okay, so this is why I asked that, because and we grew up. Oh, I loved it. We grew up around this. What time did the television turn off?
Midnight.
Maybe 1
What
a.m.
came on every channel? Not just one. Every channel. What was the screen you saw?
The
American flag or static.
or the eagle or
Yeah.
What did we have? Like, I remember, cause I know you remember this nigga. Oh, we used to sneak. No, and we can't see it. This before his family his mom and got cable and HBO and them came in. We going to the part where,
the Playboy pixel.
we can't even see the Playboy, but we can hear him.
Playboy pixel. Oh,
You can see some nipple in between
Right,
when the
right.
screen
I know, that's
all.
But at that time, there was a respect for the people, respect for the household.
The consumption
And
is different.
then
That's
different.
because there were boundaries, bro. And now that we don't have boundaries, you have to create them for yourself.
Anyone can put anything at any time of any day.
Hold on. Y'all are tripping me
So
out.
they
right
took
now.
the boundaries
Y'all
from
tripping
a
me out.
nation.
We're going
Think about it. We
backwards.
took a boundaries from a nation to where is no boundaries. No, we still on the same path because we talking about these young men. But there was a certain stability, right? And that's gone. And then you have, not only that's gone, then you have the example
Hold on.
missing
Hold on.
that can somewhat. I had a
They still exist.
I have a grandfather.
Those examples still exist. And just because we have less boundaries today, that means it requires more out of the individual to maintain those boundaries and that discipline. Me and Quentin have boundaries. I'm sure y'all do too. If you have a good friend, there's a place that just don't go there with him. Just let the nigga have it, because that's where you gonna step on his toes with that bull. Okay. So if you wanna offend him, then go here with him.
So Dre.
So that is called a boundary. That is a discipline that I have to keep on myself, knowing that certain subjects just don't bother with my man because I care about his feelings and I call him my friend.
I'm giving you a question here now. So my grandfather was the one who would teach me the source, right? Outside of my grandfather was Quentin's dad. Well, growing up, me and Uncle Ronnie, Uncle A was close to a certain extent. Me and Uncle Nate, I just really wanted to be like my uncle, but he was mean. You know what I'm saying? The closest I always been is with his father, because same way what he learned is what I learned. We was raised a certain way, right? Okay, so now you have a young man or whatever, like my nephew, who does not have any of this. They don't.
It requires more out of your nephew to get the job done.
Okay, he's now at an age where yes, he gets that. But we're talking about a teenager now.
He's not. You talking about then?
He's in his mid-20s now.
He's not a teenager now.
But as a teenager, he's asking the question. But he's asking the question for his age down.
They have to work hard to get the same job done.
How do we develop? But I believe that yes, they got to work hard, but we got to go.
I can tell you how.
Break the generation.
I can tell you how.
Yeah.
The first thing is
be the first one.
Look, that's another point.
The first thing that you got to do,
I agree with that,
is you can't be afraid to be honest with your intentions. Especially if you're trying to build something with someone, you have to approach.
No matter how terrible they are,
exactly.
You have to be upfront.
From the beginning,
from the very moment you meet someone, you got to be upfront with what it is you want.
That's kind of like,
but that's also knowing
setting
who
boundaries.
you are.
It's good
setting
practice
boundaries.
though. That's good practice, because when you really sit back and you look at it, right? if I begin a relationship, even if it's my first girlfriend, right? Like we learn habits off of things we do. If I read and I study, we teach the young people, the young men. Hopefully, y'all watching, young ladies, you learn something from the beginning. And repetition is how you get to a certain point. So maybe if we do learn that from the beginning and
repeat it, we start there.
We start there. You know, hey, I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, want to talk or whatever, but I don't feel the same. That's one of the things like I used to like about Saved by the Bell. When you laugh at it, it's crazy as hell. But Saved by the Bell, as crazy and corny as it was, they gave you those honest, like, nuggets. Like, man, if I don't like you, I don't have to say how we used to do it. You know, derogatory terms, you know.
Just good business.
It just, look, hey, man, why don't we be friends?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How about, you know what I'm saying? You know, we can still go to the movies and be friends. That's stuff that, like, we don't never do. I ain't never did that.
And quit being so damn mannish. Everything ain't got to be about
But
sex,
that goes back
bro.
to when we was kids, and I know y'all remember this. When it went from being clean to when you drive down the 15 freeway and you see the KOMP with the white girl, the girl with the cut off white teeth and the sweat coming down.
Over sexualized.
Right. You're seeing this. So what does it do? It's just like when I first saw a porn, or the first time I looked at a porno book.
Right.
There's still stuff that affects me, which is another part of this. A lot of people don't realize that intention of that sexual thing affects relationships. I learned that now as an adult, and I think that's very important what we're talking about, because a lot of us young men feel that sex is like so important. We gotta know, man, that's dangerous. Why you think there's so many baby mamas and situations and things like that? And we have to get to a point of
sex is really like the
cherry
whipped cream and the cherry on top of a thing that you've already, of a relationship that you already built.
Bun cake you to build
And now
up.
you got a banana split.
Sex.
You got banana split. You got the syrup. You got ice cream. You got all this other shit, nuts and blah blah blah. And then a little bit of sex sprinkled on top. It's kind of like the finished reward on top of a thing that I've already built. This is just the little extras that helps to confirm and melt our shit together on something that we already put together up under that.
And with you building that foundation and you starting there, it builds a little bit of mystery. You know what I'm saying? It builds
build up that sexual tension
of things like I don't listen. I love a beautiful woman. I'm not gonna lie. I love a beautiful woman. God knew what He did when He created the feminine species. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But I also know that
she's so bad, God might be a girl. Y'all motherfuckers is like.
I also know though that what makes me tick is knowing that I can relate with the person that I have interest in.
When you feel like shit, the size of her ass doesn't even cross your mind.
Nothing.
If she's a total bitch with the baddest body, you will hate her very soon.
I want to say this, and I'm actually done with this outside of the conclusion. But with you saying that brings this up for me, is that I know we're talking to men right now, but maybe let's talk to the women a little bit. I'm saying that because I feel today's women don't have a self-worth for themselves.
Oh, you struck it. I'm glad you brought that up.
You're going to bring this up and say you done?
I'm glad you brought it up.
And see, a part of it is, listen to me, a lot of it is because of a man.
That's true. Because we're not being
so
honest.
That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying that to knock sisters or anything like that, but like there's a situation that has been going on in my life where you trying to get an individual to understand their self-worth, but because of the superficial look of the individual and all these different things and how they make you feel and all that different stuff, that's like it's a cloud that affects the mentality, the membrane for you to walk. You know what I'm saying? You can't even walk now because you're so clouded to where you can't think, and that's a problem. And women, this I have to just say this because this is just the reality of it. You want a man to really want you
and respect you.
Make him want it.
Actually,
is that what women make
want?
sense? No, make him Make him want you is what I mean. I ain't talking about make him want that. I'm talking about make him want you. So want to get to know you, want to find out about you, want to know about, that was what we grew up under. We wanted to know, so we was gonna do it by any means. Now it didn't take away mannishness. It didn't take away certain things like that, but we went for what we wanted. You didn't just come on, bro.
It took me 11 months.
You feel me? I know this for my life. Okay? I know that for a fact.
When I'm married, it took me 11 months.
I don't know everything about Dre's story, Fifth story, but I know there was. What I do know, there was some work, there was some effort put in it, and during and through the relationship, there's going to be work. That's the other thing that a lot of us don't realize is that during and through the relationship, I don't care if you're a boyfriend or girlfriend, if you're married, you're going to go through some things. This is a part of marriage. You are different entities. You are two different people. So relationships, hey man. It was a song Paula Abdul used to say, what was it, opposites attract? There's going to be differences, but the beauty of it is how do you operate off of those differences? How do you learn each other? How am I willing to change myself for this individual or no? Be honest with yourself, and that's this. Like I'm concluding it because I'm kind of done. Be honest with yourself, man. Find an individual who you see like. We grew up, and our grandparents was married over 60 years. His grandparents on his maternal side was married for a long time. My grandparents, they died. So my grandmother passed, so I didn't get that on that side, but I did get to see the fruits of something, and that relationship, seeing the relationship of my uncle and my aunt Teacher Irma and Uncle Ronnie, still to this day, over 40 years. These were examples that we were giving to help us be substantial in our situation and know how to deal with things. My advice, fine, man, there's somebody that's around, that's strong, that's been through something. Man, don't be ashamed. Tell them the truth. Break it down. You know what I'm saying? So they understand. But more important, young men, the last thing I'm gonna say, find along with that elder, find you an older woman. If you know what I'm saying, if you don't have your mom or you don't, find somebody who you can be, ask them from their aspect. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where a part of me comes from, my sensitivity. My wife say I'm too sensitive sometimes, or hey man, I get that from my grandma, I get that from my mom. I have to have a sensitive side. I'm not a person that disrespects a woman and call out her name. Hey, I'm a person that, you can yell at me and I may not like what you say, but, I hold my tongue, even though it takes me to a certain, that's me. We just have to come to a understanding that we need those who have the wisdom. And I know for a fact all three of us, between the three of us, have some wisdom to share about relationships. But that's what I recommend, bro.
What was you gonna say?
Bringing the ladies into it. I'm sure y'all ain't gonna like where this ends up, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
I just said mine, heat it out.
Women,
ladies,
girls, females, however you see yourself. If you're looking for a man, I'll leave it at that. If you're looking for a man, the idea of us opening the door for you, the idea of us providing for you, protecting you, all those chivalrous things, buying flowers for no reason, taking you out to dinner and making plans for this and the whole bit, and all we say is get dressed, put on something nice, and then we have a whole evening planned. Getting the box off the top shelf in the garage, opening the pickle jar, helping you cook, cooking ourselves and having you help us. All of these things are considered chivalrous. All of these things are considered what a traditional man does. I understand we live in modern times, but if you get offended by a man that you don't know opening the door for you and you think that he's hitting on you, please understand, I was going to the door before you, and I'm a man, and I was really just trying to open up the door for the woman behind me. And sometime when it's a man, I might hold the door open for him too. I was really just trying to be polite and be a part of society and not be a dickhead everywhere I
didn't
go.
ask you to open the door
Say
for me.
thank you.
Say
I ain't
a
actually
thank
open
you
the door
would be
for me.
nice. I'm not looking for your phone number all of the time. Sometimes I'm just being polite. But if you want to live in a world
Come on, man.
where we are completely equal, you have to take the good with the bad that comes with that. If you want the same responsibilities, and I got a job too, you need to cook and clean around this motherfucker too. Okay, that's fine. We'll divide it up and find a way to do that. And when I open the door for you, you roll your eyes and be like, you think you finna get some pussy for that? Like, yo, like, you kind of hit me in this way to where if you want to be a man, then you make the plans for the vacation. You pay the rent. You work all day, and I'll be the stay-at-home dad. You buy me
can't say that
flowers.
today. You can't say that.
You buy me flowers. You open the door. You get the car washed and
what they
fill
do
this
today, though.
motherfucker up with gas.
I'm telling you.
You do them things that a traditional man would do, and now we could talk about equality
Without talking negative about the man.
without downing him.
I have to say
and
that.
considering
because,
him a
because
beta.
because
and a
if
bitch
that
and all-
happens, they're gonna talk down, gonna look down on him. Oh, you sorry, mother, etc., etc. Yep.
Yeah, all
Absolutely.
day, every day. So what makes us want to draw you in? What makes us want to chase you is some of it is these small things that a man does for a woman. That a woman doesn't necessarily need to. We don't get triggered, but when you bring us a dozen roses, the way you might. We don't get triggered because you chose shrimp instead of chicken. That's not where we get triggered. We get triggered in when I have a shitty day, I can lay on her lap and that it goes away. Because her words or her mode or her emotions, whatever it is, I'm better for being with her than I am by myself. So now, I need you to provide something that I don't provide for myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I can pay my rent. I can open my door. I can change my tire. I need you to be the nurturer, the kindness, the opposite of me. And when you're the opposite of me, we fit together like a puzzle. And now I do 50% of what men do. You do 50%, which is what women do. And now 100% is covered. That goes from me and you in our marriage, and also our children and our family.
Okay.
Because guess what? I know I have to do I have to bring something to the table. That's the thing in the manosphere I keep hearing over.
Absolutely.
Is what do you bring to the table? And I feel like it's mostly posed to the woman. But don't get it twisted, ladies. The man is thinking that on himself as well.
Absolutely.
Yo, what do I bring to the
Of the
table?
real ones.
A real
What
one.
do I bring to the table? And these things that I bring to the table make me qualified to ask for a certain type of woman. Now, if I don't bring anything to the table, you should take whatever woman is willing to take you. Because you ain't bout shit and you don't got shit to provide for nobody's nothing. But if you are a man with standards, if you are a man with certain qualities, you should be able and allowed to look for standards and qualities. Like we had the example earlier. If you want to be the dude who has the baddest chick, she's the most fit. And that's the most important thing for you is to have a trophy on your arm. Fine. You're a grown man, you make whatever decisions you want to be. But are you a trophy as a man? You need to be whatever it is. You need to be whatever it is you're searching for.
Exactly.
So you hit the gym and search for a girl, not a woman, not a wife.
Nope.
You looking for a chick who's fit.
You
But
supposed
how
to-
big are your
You
arms?
supposed to be going to the gym to be going to the gym.
You're supposed to be going to the gym to get better for yourself. But if you go in here to look for a girl, are you in shape? And if there was a girl in the gym looking at men the way you look at women, her number one goal is to have a fit dude. So now while you over here saying, I demand she be in shape, and that's my number one thing before we even go on a date. That means that you have to put the same equality on your woman and say, okay, if a woman was looking at me with that same eye and said, my number one thing is that he be fit, do you fit that package? And if you don't, fall back and work out to improve yourself and quit worrying about the girls around you, because you might need to work on self. And then you'll have something to bring to the table where you could demand that someone contribute to the table as well. But if you ain't bout shit and you ain't doing shit, take the first chick who says I do.
That's a good one.
Nicely said, man. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna be long, like, you know what I'm saying, but I feel like you need to slow down. You gotta slow down, man. Everything you don't have to have everything right now.
Oh yeah.
You don't. And just because you have it right now, don't make it good for you. You know what I'm saying? You need to take the time to build. Like we've been saying this whole time, you need to take the time to build something. If all that you can think about is how soon I'm gonna get in this person's pants,
You're in the wrong direction already, man.
you're not building nothing.
You're gonna get a whole lot of sex, and you're gonna have zero relationships.
And
you're gonna wonder why
you can have all the greatest sex in the world with no communication.
And just go, if that's how you feel, I ain't trying to knock the person. You might as well go do porn.
Exactly, and that's not what this is about.
Or just flat out pay hoes.
It's about slowing down. It's about taking your time. It's
to
about
build something more.
Getting to know someone. It's about making sure that those interests that you have are similar like interests, things that you can communicate and talk to. You know, one of the biggest things for me is being able to talk to my wife. Like we'll sit and we'll literally have a conversation from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning talking about the same thing, trying to get to understand each other's points. And we'll bring up the same conversation we just talked about next week and do the same thing again. But that's because we're trying to communicate,
because both of you care
how
enough to try to get
feel
to the point
about what it is that we are so passionate about, that we want the other person to understand what our passion is. And that passion is intimacy. And intimacy does not always have to be sexual.
Yeah, I learned that.
Intimacy could be in a public place. We're at dinner and there's nobody in the room because we're so into each other.
Period.
It's
and the
so,
room is full.
It's so intimate. Like the conversation was flowing, the food came at the perfect time, the wine, the water, the drinks, everything was so nice to where I'm so into her right now.
And that to be honest with you, that's a feeling.
We got up and left and forgot to pay the bill and had to come back and be like, oh shit, sorry.
Exactly my point. That's
a
a feeling that's gonna take you to a euphoric place and you ain't even touched them.
And on the way home, the sexual tension is rising with every mile that passes. And when I get home, I'm probably gonna be on my best performances because this thing has built up to a crescendo. We both about to explode up in this joint in a place to where now the intimacy has been sealed with the cherry on top that we brought up before.
That bunt cake with
we
the
had
ice
a whole
and the
night with the bananas and the ice cream and we built this whole entire thing. And at the end, the whipped cream and the cherries came out.
Learn that though, man.
It is a learned thing.
It's a learning process.
And that's what you got to do. You got to start learning it right now. Take the time to learn yourself first and then approach someone that you're interested in.
Because when you get to this age and you trying to,
the other thing with honesty, Q, is that while you're being honest, you have to formulate your conversations in a way to make sure the person that you're talking to is being honest too.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how, I don't know all of you all's experience, but the women in my life that I've had relationships with are good at thinking in the moment. They're good at formulating the words that even they know they full of shit, but they can argue with you. And they can go back and forth with you.
Oh, it goes both ways. You both need to be honest.
And they can explain themselves out of something that they know they're not being honest with.
And quit trying to think yourself out of it.
Stop quit thinking out of it and just be honest.
In that moment
just,
and honest.
Just be like, yo, bro, you know what? You like doing XYZ? I'm not really into mountain climbing or whatever it is.
How am I going to even know what you really want if you don't tell me the truth?
Yeah, well, because you've been faking it.
How could I give you what you need if you don't tell me?
You've been faking it the whole time. And in the meantime, I'm thinking, oh, we're both into rock climbing.
But you know what?
In the meantime,
that's one thing.
It's not always that, bro. And I'm just speak about myself because that's all I can do. Sometimes for some men who've never been raised that way or don't have no understanding, it's not so easy for them to communicate. My wife know. It's not always easy for me to communicate, or so easy for me to say something, or so easy for me to say, hey, I don't like this, or so, you know, some people like myself, I don't like confrontation. I don't like arguing. I don't like wasting negative energy. I don't like wasting good energy for negative stuff. This is something for me, because I'm a person, and I had to develop that because I used to have a temper problem, and I want to destroy something or cause issues. So for me, I just eliminate it. If it ain't that serious, I'm gonna cut it off. I'm gonna be mad for the moment and have my temper tantrum or whatever, but I've learned to do that. But I'm learning that is a problem also in my relationship, and that's why I find out we have to be able. That's why I brought that up in the beginning about us being able to be open and truthful and speak that, because it's not easy for everybody, bro. It's not that I didn't see that. I saw my grandpa have a conversation with grandma. I never saw that. Even in his house, I had seen them discuss business stuff, and as far as they, you know.
But when you recognize it, can you be honest enough to tell your wife, yo, I ain't that good at this, that, the other.
Today, yes. See,
so
but that was like I said, that's growth.
That's what I'm saying about being. That's what I'm saying about being honest.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you need to.
And still, sometimes it's hard for me, bro, because man, bro, I don't like when my wife mad. I'm gonna be real. A lot of it, man, I don't like when my wife mad. I don't like when she upset. So I try to do what I can do to keep her from being mad. I don't like it. I don't like the mood. I don't like coming around it. I don't like it, bro. And so because I don't like it, sometimes some people will say, oh, I sell myself short, or I, you know, do less than I should. You know, as a man, you should. But what defines a man by doing that? Does that define a man? Because me. Sometimes it's just best. What I learned over years with people who had time, it's best just to shut the hell up in the situation.
That's true.
And keep going.
As long as it's balanced.
Now, if it's a situation where there's a disrespect and all that, okay, now we're talking about different. But if it's a normal, and we know the differences in each other. There's times I get mad at my wife, but shut up, she won't say nothing because she know what she gonna say. It don't mean nothing because I'm angry at the time. But we have to be able, man, and that's what I learned. I'm just speaking from me, truthful, awful with you. We have to be able to do that, man, and it's not so easy.
As long as
but you have to be willing, man. Like you said, I think you said that earlier. You have to be willing, man. And hey, man, I'm still willing. I've been married going on 15 years. This man over 20. You know what I'm saying? And we still learning. We still learning. We still learning. The foundation he established between him and his wife. We still learning. We all have different situations, and that's the beauty, the dynamic of it. But we have to be transparent. That's the word I'm looking for.
Just hang in there, y'all. Y'all will get it. You know what I'm saying? Just stay diligent. Love will find you.
And don't be afraid to ask and speak on it, man.
Oh, that's great. As long as it's balanced, like I say. You said that you don't like having your wife angry. That's great. You do whatever is required to make sure she's not angry. If she has that same mentality, great. If she has, fuck him, I can do X, Y, Z, and now he gonna back off because he knows better than to test my shit. Now we in a scenario where I consider that disrespect. I consider that an imbalance in the household.
Okay, what E40 call it?
I consider that an imbalance in the household, and I don't think that's how you get to 40 and 50 years. But everyone's relationship is different. Some people stay together because they don't want to argue. Some people stay together because you work through all of the different little things and all of the hiccups, and you find a way to make it work. However you make it work, there's three sides to the coin.
It's gotta be communication.
Heads, tails, and edge.
At the end of all, like what everybody I think summed up, it's all about communication, man. So,
what do you want and what do you pursue? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your partner. All day, every day. Make sure you understand yourself well enough to pick a partner, because once again, if you're looking for an awesome support and someone who will help you move up in life and help you have kids and help you buy a house and houses and investment properties, but you pick a chick with a giant ass, she might be a dummy. If you're looking for a man who's gonna provide and have a futuristic, ambition for the future and all these type of things, and all you're looking for is the size of his arms or how tall he is, you might be missing. You might be missing a gem. So I mean, you got to understand yourself enough to know that I want these things, and these things are superficial, and these things are not, and move in that direction.
Hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe. Man, hit that bell. We looking for you. Salute. Be easy.
Out.